Hey mages on the internet, Matt here from Total MTG, and let me first off start by saying Happy New Year to everyone. I hope 2019 was a great year for you and 2020 will be even better. Let's hope so. Thanks for all your support over last year. Let's just hope we make a cracking start to the new year, and this is the first video of the new year, and I'm giving you my 10 top cards from the last decade. So from 2010 to 2019, I've got 10 cards here which I think were the best cards printed and played in that decade. So to start off, let me just tell you right from the start, these are not cards that have been reprinted in the last decade. So there's no Thoughtseize, Bllood Moon, anything like that. Although they were great in the last decade, they were printed and played before 2010. So these cards are all there from 2010 onwards. But without further ado, let's get to the first card on my list. And it's the most recent card on the list, which is Oko, Thief of Crowns. What can we say about Oko? Broken Oko is what it was known as. It's already been banned in 3 formats, and when you think this card has, basically practically just been released, it's still so good that it has to be banned. It's a broken 3-mana Planeswalker. It shuts down so many decks because it's so hard to kill. You can +2. It has 4 loyalty, which is great. It's really hard to, when you've got a Planeswalker that starts with such high loyalty for so low mana cost, it is really hard to kill. So it's hard for those aggro decks to go straight in there and, just basically obliterate it with bolt effects and everything like that, or attack with hasty creatures. The +2 effect puts its loyalty straight to 6, which what makes Oko so hard to deal with. It also has another plus ability. Target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes a green elk. So that is artifact or creature. So that just deals with practically anything dirty and dangerous that your opponent's putting on the board that is going to be attacking you. Oko deals with it and turns it into the elk. This is going for around $45 still, even though it's been banned in 3 formats. And obviously the first set, and only set it'll probably be printed in, is Throne of Eldraine. Oko for me, was warping formats, and certainly out of all the recent cards deserves to be in one of the best cards that was printed. Some will obviously doubt that because of how broken it was, but it is, well, it should definitely be on the list. So we go to my next card, and this is a personal favourite of mine. It warped a format. It dominated standard. It was Siege RHINO. Siege RHINO, very cheap card now, $2 to $2.50. Great card from Khans of Tarkir, never printed again. Such a staple it was in standard because it offers so much value. It was a 4/5 with trample. When it ends the battlefield, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. That little helix effect, lightning helix effect on a creature, that had a massive 4/5 body. Now the casting cost, 1, white, black and a green was a little bit tricky, but not really with the type of lands that we had in standard at the time. This saw play in modern as well, the meme card that was in modern, and I played it in legacy as well. So that just tells you how good RHINO was. It could honestly just win games all by itself. It's just a great creature. When people drop that Siege RHINO, you could just see the face on your opponent. It was just like big sigh. They knew that there's nothing they could do of it. There was no spell that could deal with the 5 toughness at that time. And if they were, they weren't going to get it that early. If they didn't have it in hand, it was just going to stomp its way to victory. Great card, Siege RHINO, and definitely a top card in the last decade. The next card on my list is a Commander staple. This is Command Tower, very aptly named, and it's played in every multicoloured EDH deck possible. Now why would this is just an iconic card. It has no stipulation land, so you're not going to be taxed with life. It isn't going to come in tapped. There's no downside to Command Tower, which why for me makes it so strong and such an iconic card. It really is the best commander land that you could honestly play. Even perhaps if you're not playing mono, fair enough, but if you're playing any multicoloured deck, the first land you're going to be putting in is Command Tower. Nice price, only $1.44 to $2. These cards don't have to be expensive to be the best cards in the last decade. This for me is an absolute staple in every deck, like I said, and the power of Command Tower is easily there to see. Add to your mana pool 1 mana of any colour in your commander's colour identity. No problems, no stipulations, just an all-round epic land. The next card on my list is a blue card. It is a very talked about card throughout the years. It's Treasure Cruise. 7 and a blue sorcery. It has Delve, which what breaks this card. Draw 3 cards. Now, basically what you're doing with this card, if you've played it, you are drawing 3 cards for 1 mana. It totally warped formats. I mean, it's so good, it's banned in practically everything. It came out in Khans of Tarkir, which had some very, very good cards in there. 0.35 or 50 cents. It's very cheap. It's banned everywhere, so you're not going to be able to play it in many formats. But reason why it is banned, because basically you're paying 1 blue mana to draw 3 cards. Blue spells were very easily to cast if you're playing Izzet or anything like that. You'd fill up your graveyard very, very easily. This card, even if you played it early, was still great. If you played it late, it would bring you back into a game, because drawing 3 cards for 1 blue mana, how strong is that? This card will just win games, and not by winning games by doing damage, but just by refilling your hand. Iconic card. I'm probably going to be saying that a lot through this, because these are iconic cards from the last decade. But Treasure Cruise, what a card. I miss playing you in a lot of formats, but I understand why you're banned. Treasure Cruise makes the top cards in the last decade. DEATHRITE Shaman is the next on my list, the 1 mana planeswalker as it was known. DEATHRITE Shaman costs 1 mana. It's either a black mana or a green mana, swamp or forest. It's a 1/2 body for 1. And the abilities, wow. I mean, you get a 1/2 for 1. You get to tap it to exile target land from a graveyard, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. You are the destroyer of graveyards with DEATHRITE Shaman. It is such an undercosted card. The abilities are all undercosted as well, in my opinion. Tap in the black, exile target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard. This is what this does, is from a graveyard. So not only can you, obviously if your opponent doesn't have anything, you can do it for yourself to gain, each opponent would then lose 2 life. Exile target creature card from a graveyard, you gain 2 life. This card is broken as hell. It was. Its first set it was printed in was Return to Ravnica, and still fetching a price around $5 to $7. But a creature card that was known as a 1 mana planeswalker, that is super, super strong. I'd love to see, I can play this now in Pioneer, which is really good, so I get to play my DEATHRITE Shamans again. Could it go back into Modern? Probably not with fetch lands around it, it'd just be too super, super strong. But what a card this was. I love playing it. I started in Return to Ravnica when I started playing Magic. That'd be interesting to know as well. When did you start playing Magic? What are the cards from your iconic year of starting? Put them in the comments. Back onto the blue theme now, and it's Cyclonic Rift. The bounce all for the win. Well, technically anyway. From Return to Ravnica as well, and this fetches a massive price still. $16 to $20 is the rough price. Return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. You can overload it, which is what's great about this in Commander. Overloading 6 and a blue, returning target non-land permanent you don't control. So your stuff is staying on the battlefield. You're setting yourself up for that massive win as you return everything at instant speed. This just hits opponents, like I said, which makes it amazing. An EDH blue staple. If you're playing blue in Commander, you're probably putting Cyclonic Rift in there if you've got one in your collection. It is amazing. It really is. When I say the bounce all for the win, because many times when you do bounce everything, you're setting yourself up late game and then you just attacking for the win. It is such a great card. Cyclonic Rift, I've got you in all my blue decks, and I'm sure a lot of you blue mages do as well. On to the next card. Blue does have a lot of great cards in the last decade, and Snapcaster Mage is without a doubt certainly one of them. Best utility creature in the game, I'm calling this. It's a 2/1 with flash for 2, human wizard, so it could be played in tribal wizards, but it's basically played in every control deck if you're playing blue. When Snapcaster Mage ends the battlefield, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is obviously its mana cost as well. So what you got to do with this, you got to flash it in, bring back your best spells, or perhaps you can do it in your main phase and then do a Thoughtseize or something, play that Thoughtseize, snap it in, Thoughtseize again. It's just unbelievable what this card can do. It's one of Blue's most played cards in sets, in Moderns, in Legacy and stuff like that. $53 to $63 is the price, because if you want something good sometimes, you've got to pay the dollar for it. Snapcaster Mage, iconic card, and just offers so much value, and really does. It can win a game. You see decks that just play this as their creature. Getting down with the old Snapcaster Mage beatdown plan is a thing I've done in the past as well. But I love the flashback. It's super strongness, and definitely, if not one of the best creatures ever printed. certainly in the last decade. Now, certainly to one of the most, talked about cards in the last decade, Faithless Looting. Should it be banned? Should it not be banned? There's so many different conversations about this card. It is card draw, it filters and has flashback. It does so much more for 1 red mana. It is a powerful blue effect in red. It was printed in Dark Ascension. It's definitely one of the best ever commons printed ever in the state of Magic. Draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, flashback for 3. This just fuels Delve decks. It fuels those type of Phoenix decks. It fuels everything. And eventually it got banned. Eventually in Modern. Eventually, because it was after a lot of people did call it. But Faithless Looting, what a card it is. Just for that single mana. I've never known a card that caused so much debate as this. Faithless Looting. And the price has obviously dropped now because it's not played so much. But you're looking at a common card that does all this. Amazing card. You can pick them up now for $1 if you want to play them in some other formats, but Faithless Looting definitely deserves to be on this list. So we're down to the final 2 cards now, and in comes big EMRAKUL, the Aeons Torn. 15 mana it costs to cast, but people will cheat this into play. Has to be one of the strongest creatures ever printed. It can't be countered. It has insane effects and abilities. When you cast EMRAKUL, take an extra turn after this one. Flying, protection from coloured spells, and Annihilator 6. Wow. This card, mainly cheated in. I've done it quite a few times with a little Nahiri Planeswalker. When EMRAKUL is put into the graveyard from anywhere though, you get to shuffle it back in. It's insane, this card. $20 to $36 is roughly between the different printings that you're going to get this. From Rise of Eldrazi was the first set it was ever printed. EMRAKUL wins games. Without a doubt, wins games. It can't be touched. It is a 15-15 flying, take away your opponent's board. What more can be said? Iconic card in the last decade. So the last card on my list is a Planeswalker. And you know I'm a blue mage, but failing that, Jace the Mind Sculptor is the most iconic Planeswalker for me ever printed. Comes in with 3 loyalties at the bottom, but has a +2 of look at the top card of target player's library. Put that card on the bottom, so you get to choose what your opponent draws. Brainstorm for 0? Insane. Draw 3 cards, put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. This card is super expensive, even after the reprints. Still fetching around $105 to $116, first printed in Worldwake. It's just an amazing, amazing Planeswalker. I remember the day I got my first Jace the Mind Sculptor, and I just loved it ever since. I put it in all my blue EDH decks. I just love doing it. I haven't got more than one, just that one special Jace in my collection. I am a blue mage and I treasure it. It has a -1 return target creature to its owner's hand, and a -12, which I've done a few times, exile all cards from target player's library. Then that player shuffles his or her hand into their library. I love Jace the Mind Sculptor. For me, it is just one of the best cards ever printed. People will obviously be up and down about it. Forget about whether you like blue or not. You know Jace is good. Jace deserves to be on this list, and it is definitely one of the most iconic cards in the last decade. So that's my top 10 list, and what you want to do now, if you've not been doing it throughout the videos, put in the comments your iconic cards from the last decade. What do you think has been the best cards printed? Remember, they have to be printed from 2010 to 2019 onwards. No reprints allowed. They've got to be first printed in now. Start putting your list in the comments and so we can all see and all compare and look at which one of us have chosen this and chosen that and start a good old discussion. Anyway, I just want to say Happy New Year again. We've got lots of good things planned for the channel, so hit that subscribe button. Hitting the likes really helps the channel, and commenting is massive. It helps YouTube push the video, keeps the channel growing, and then it just makes me lots more videos for you all to enjoy. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. You lot take care, and I'll see you on the next video.